Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm as always Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. I don't know what I was gonna start the show with. 'Cause there's stuff I want to talk about soon. But I don't know if I should start the show with it. You know what I mean?
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
Unless it's a
Yeah.
bit. Unless it's fun.
No, it's not.
it
I do
fun?
have a bit. I haven't told you this, and I won't tell you what it is. But every single show, I have in my notes, bit question mark X. Like it's a very specific bit. So it's a name and then bit question mark, and I'm trying to fit it in somewhere. I haven't been able to yet. It's been like 3 weeks. But I
Okay.
oftentimes forget about it. But if I find a little, it
What's
wouldn't
the
work at the beginning of
name?
the show. I'm not
You'd
gonna
have
tell
to
you
tell
that.
me the name.
I'm not
Okay,
gonna
is
tell
it
you
a
that.
wrestler?
No.
Oh.
Me and Scotty actually came up with this
Oh, of course, Scott.
because we were watching a movie actually, and and we were like, oh man, you gotta fit that in somewhere. And I was like, yeah, I do. I gotta. Oh my god, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Scott is just conniving behind my back here. So,
It's
yeah.
not anti
All right.
you. It's
Uh,
anti whoever
I
we'll see. We'll see if it happens.
still, feels very shady. Scott E. The E is for E shady. I
That's
don't know.
you,
All right.
you had a
This
good 3 seconds to come up with anything better than that, and you came up with the worst thing possible.
what starting with E could replace shady. I don't know. Like,
Uh, uh,
see, it's difficult. Anyway,
this
this
E stands
podcast.
for enraging.
I don't think he's enraging. I
Uh,
don't. I don't. That doesn't
yeah,
fit.
I don't know. I don't know. What does the E
Yeah.
stand for? Everybody, leave it in the comment section below, and also on Twitter at Scott E Wrestling. What does the E stand for?
don't do that. No. He'll go mad.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
will.
Yeah, we don't want that smoke. All right. This show is brought to you by the 5 Star Podcast Network. Head on over to the 5starnetwork.co for all of the great articles and podcasts from the wonderful world of pro wrestling, and also head over to the YouTube channel where more stuff gets uploaded because people don't want to do podcasts, I guess. They don't want to edit them. They're grind runners. They don't want to edit, so
This
they're
is
just like, I'm just putting it on YouTube. It's fine.
well. To be fair, we started doing like videos and stuff, like actual like things, like with the different. Me, Scotty, and Xavi for the No Limit episode 8 did a Champions of the World March Madness. So every world champion that we could find and think of, we put into a bracket, and we went through it, and we all 2 to 1 or out of 3, each of us had a vote, and we voted the best champion in the world. Surprise, surprise, champions from Stardom, and it was not the world champion.
How? Wasn't Mayu.
It was Mayu.
You're so predictable. Oh my god,
No,
that's
the funny
crazy.
thing was, okay, so really, there it came down to like 3 people, right? And I hate that I'm saying this because everybody should go check out the video on YouTube, please. Um, but it came down to 3 people, really. It came down to four. It came down to Samoa Joe, Athena, Mayu, and Sareee, right?
Athena's a sneak. I won't lie to you. Athena's a
Uh,
bit of
uh,
a sneak. She had really a top 4 champion in wrestling right now.
yes. I mean, she
Really?
like in terms of like actual like because the other 3 were very much like personal, like, oh well, we all love Sareee, we all love Mayu, we all love Joe, right? So
Right.
it's like,
That's fair.
whereas Athena, of the 4, probably has like the best, like she has the best record, she has the most defenses, she has the longest reign. Like
Oh, it's one
there
of
there are
those. Oh, it's a
there are
kayfabe. Was it
various.
kayfabe?
It was a mix where it's like,
Okay. All right.
well, because like if like if EC3 was champion for the past 700 days, defended it 100 times, we're still not voting for fucking EC3. Like, it's kayfabe enough to where it's like she's done a lot with the belt, in
That's
comparison to
fair. Yeah,
everybody
that's
else,
fair.
that type of thing. And of those four, Joe could have lost the belt 2 days ago, and we were like, we don't want to do a Giulia again, where we jinx the winner losing the belt within 2 weeks, basically. Um, Sareee only defended the belt once, and despite both of her championship matches being great, she's held the belt for like 6 months and hasn't
Yeah.
defended it. And then Athena, like you said, it's like she's on paper a tremendous champion, but also she's in Ring of Honor, and they do not care about Ring of Honor. Mayu had the Sherry match. Like, I think that's
Okay.
yeah. Um, but if you want more elaborate discussions and more fun from that bracket, go check it out on the No Limit Wrestling Show episode 8. It is on the 5 Star Network YouTube channel.
How did Mayumi Ozaki do?
I think she lost first round to Tomoka Inaba.
That is incredible.
And it's funny because Xavi hates JTO rules. I make him watch them, and he literally wants to stab me anytime I make him watch JTO. But he's still like, ah.
That's
ah.
that's fair. That's fair. Tomoka is quite a bit better, I would say. So
Yeah,
that's all right.
especially
Um,
in fucking 2024. Jesus.
yes. Oh yeah. Well, I guess that's your March Madness thing.
Mhm.
Um, the news from the world of Stardom is they've announced a handful of the names that will take part in the Philadelphia show at WrestleMania Weekend. The headliner was obviously Mayu Iwatani. She is joined by Stars co-member Momo Kogo. Azumi is representing Queen's Quest. Starlight Kid Momo Watanabe are representing Oedo Tai. Sareee is representing God's Eye. And Mina Shirakawa is going on behalf of E Nexus V. Um, I
I
assume
feel like
these
there's
aren't
got to be a couple
all
more.
that's. Yeah, I would assume they're not all that's going because they didn't make it seem like this was the first batch. And there'll be like more announced later. So that this is just kind of the first wave. I assume these are the people with visas, because
Yeah,
Mayu would obviously have one, Mina would have one, Koga would have one, and I guess the other ones are just done quicker.
yeah, and like a Micah hasn't like I think you also have to look at like who wants to leave the country. Because
I
that's
feel
like a
like
big thing
most of
with
them want to wrestle in America,
but
but
that's a big thing with like New Japan is that it's like Taichi just doesn't want to leave Japan. I don't know if he can. I don't know if it's like a legal issue or if he just doesn't want to. But like if you notice, he hasn't been to America since like in 20 years. Um, despite like becoming like a pretty big deal, like he's Sonata's tag partner. He's still like, nah, I'm not. I'm not going to fucking America. Fuck that shit. Um, so I do imagine that there are some people who might just be like, yeah, I mean, I don't really need to go. Uh, so if you want to prioritize the other people, go ahead. Um, but also, yeah, the visas is probably the bigger thing.
Mhm. In addition to that, is it Mayu, Azumi, and Mina have been
And kid,
announced for? Oh, and Kid have been announced for Spark Joshi, which is also taking place at WrestleMania Weekend.
hmm
So interesting to see Stardom sending wrestlers to an American indie.
oh,
Although I guess
and
if they're
an
there
American
anyway,
Joshi indie too.
yeah, that too. But I guess if they're there, you might as well. I will be interested to see if Spark uses some of their title holders because don't Ram has their like mid card
Ram
belt.
and Saki are both going to be there too.
And Saki. Okay, so that's an
Because
interesting
there's going
collection
to
of
be a
names.
tryout for the women. There's going to
There
be a
is
women's
actually, yeah,
tryout
yeah.
that is conducted by Ram, Saki, Mayu, and Sumi. I think are the four
Hmm.
that are doing the tryout judging. So yeah, if you're a woman in the Philly area and you have wrestling experience, go check that out.
I think most people will be there anyway for shows.
Yeah,
So yeah, definitely give that a go. But yeah, that's kind of interesting to see them working with a promotion. But I would imagine half of it is just well they're there already, so
and
why not?
Sumi is
Ansumi, I guess.
involved with Spark, and Sumi has a good relationship with the Stardom roster. It's interesting because Sumi has a good relationship with Rocky, and
Yeah.
I imagine that they are leaning a lot more on Rocky now that Rossi and presumably Sonny is soon to be gone. Um, I imagine they're leaning on Rocky to do a bit more of the liaison work for Stardom as well.
Maybe, yeah, maybe it's the way to be more friendly. Or
Because I
maybe
mean,
they just
Taro
got paid
Okada
to do it.
is
I don't know. Maybe they
yeah,
wanted
also true.
money, and Spark offered money because
Also
Bushi
very true.
Road likes to make money now. They can take any way they can get. Um, yeah, that's kind of cool because you're gonna see presumably the Stardom wrestlers work with some indie wrestlers, maybe
Mm.
some Joshi names. But it's interesting to see them mix it up with kind of outsiders because we haven't really seen that since was it the Eve tour in what 2019?
19.
Yeah, like
I
that was the
mean,
last time
we
Stardom
saw
wrestlers en
Mina and
masse.
Waka. Um,
Yeah,
I,
but that was
but the
brief.
Eve tour was only 4 people, and the
But yeah, but it was
Windy
still
City was
them
2.
like
Well, 3.
mixing it up with like actual indie talent. You know,
Isn't
I
it
got to
wild that Kylan King versus Mayu Iwatani is a match that happened?
yes, and it never got followed up on. Even though
No,
Kylan King is awesome, so I don't know.
I forgot until just like 10 seconds ago that that was a match that happened.
To be fair, a lot of those New Japan Strong matches are very. It's cool in the moment, but I don't. They're not very memorable
Rewatchable
because
or memorable,
yeah,
yeah.
because usually the production is bad, so
Yes.
that doesn't help. But yeah, I don't because I was like, because Mayu versus Vaquer happened as well, and in the
That was a
moment
good
that's
match.
insane. But I haven't thought of that match once since it happened. You know, and
Yeah.
if it happened anywhere else, it would have been insane. Like you put that in
Put that
Japan
in Cork
or
Hall, it's
Arena
one of the best
Mexico,
matches of the year.
yeah, or obviously Arena Mexico,
Yes,
and
obviously.
it's memorable, but and not on strong. But you know, this is fun. People are very interested in this show. Obviously, a lot of people are getting to see Stardom live for the first time because I would imagine a lot of people are newer fans. I think the people who went in 2019 would have maybe left in
Mhm.
2020 because a lot of people really got put off Stardom after that
Well,
COVID
I
break.
mean,
It was a real
I
split.
a clip just got uploaded on Twitter. I think it might have been by Doi. I don't remember who posted it. About how over Momo Watanabe was at the
Yeah,
2019 show. She was like one of the 2 or 3 top most popular wrestlers on the show. Um, so a lot of those people might not still be fans
yeah,
because I don't know if your favorite wrestler in the company was Momo in 2019. It's been a rough few years.
yes. And Kagetsu retired as well. And
Yeah,
I always say Kagetsu was a huge
the I think the
gateway for
three most
international
popular
fans.
I think the 3 most popular wrestlers on that show were Kagetsu, Momo, and Hana,
Mhm.
and we're here now, right? So,
Yes.
yeah, a lot of people who will be going to the show are newer fans. Um, it's also interesting because it's a different pool of people. Because I think I would be more willing to go to New York than Philadelphia.
Mhm.
So it's like I I I know there's a lot of people traveling out to Philly for WrestleMania, but it's a different amount of people. You know, like there are certain WrestleMania locations that I would rather go to. Um, that like Philly just isn't one of them. So people who just don't want to go to Philly, or people who are inclined to go to Philly, more likely to be there than the New York one a few years ago as well.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, that's fun. Hope the card is good.
Mm.
And yeah, the Spark Joshi thing is interesting. So hopefully they get cool matches there. Um, but
And
that's and
this is the most important part. Azumi and Mina got announced for Windy City Riot,
oh
which is
yeah,
a week later, and it will interfere with a Corkin show that's happening on the same day. Um, Yeah, so Mina, Azumi, and Stephanie Vaquer, are the 3 women who have been announced for that show.
I had
Um,
been thinking about that, and I was
mm,
like, are they going to do another tournament, one night tournament for the belt? But it seems like Vacker is just going to win and probably defend it there against Mina
I c
or Azumi.
I could see it being a triple threat or a fatal 4-way.
You know, see, they do book other women on those shows now because they have the
Yeah,
strong dojo there. So I think they'd rather give one of the women from that a chance than.
but that's my point is that I think what could happen is it be Vaquer versus Azumi versus Mina versus X,
But
right?
I think they would just do
White woman.
two separate matches. And also, actually,
Oh,
the newest
could be a pre-show.
Academy showcase has Alex Gracia, former Stardom alumni,
Hmm.
and also Zara Zucker. Do you see? Did you see her on TJPW?
I've heard about her. I saw some clips.
Yeah,
She looks
she
pretty cool.
rocks. So if Zara gets on there, Zara and Mina, let's go. I would take it
Mm.
any day of the week. But yeah, I could see it being two matches. One is Vaquer versus whoever, and then the other one is Zara or Alex Gracia versus the other wrestler who doesn't
I could
face
also
Vaquer.
see them booking an AEW woman if they want to
Um,
do that
yeah.
because this is their
What
big
do
show.
you think Mercedes Monet does anything? Because
Not that show.
she was hanging out with Mina. Do you think she just shoots an angle or something? She seems to
I mean,
want a match with Mina, and
it's
Mina,
possible. Oh, that's the other part is that we didn't even
yes.
talk about is
Mhm.
that because Mina and Azumi are staying for that extra week, it's a possibility that they work Supercard of Honor, AEW TV, or Ring of Honor TV
Yeah,
within that week. Um, that
and
is
I
more
would
so. I'm thinking I wouldn't be surprised if Mercedes was like, hey, like if she was doing like doing a little bit of
yeah,
politicking for
see,
AEW.
what I would expect is Mercedes maybe does an angle on Windy City Riot and attacks Mina, and
Right.
then they have the match in AEW. Because I would imagine with the booking of women now in AEW, it's Mercedes says jump and Tony says how high,
Hmm.
right? You are not paying her
Well,
as
it would
much
have to
money
be
as
the
he's
inverse,
paying her
actually.
to not give her everything she asks for. So I
True.
would imagine some of this is Mercedes being like, "Hey, I want to wrestle Mina Shirakawa," and him going, "Yes, okay,
I think it would have to be the inverse because I think Windy City is their last date. Because unless they're staying for like 3 weeks, which would be a bit wild. But um,
oh right." I thought Windy City was before.
no,
Is big business
Windy
not
City is
like
the 12th. Oh, Big
and
Business
when?
is next week. Well, not
Yeah,
next week.
so
It's
big business,
10
Windy
days from now.
City, and then Ring of Honor, is it not?
No, it's Big Business, Ring of Honor, Windy City.
Oh, okay. I had it the other way around. I
Yeah.
thought they'd be around. Okay,
Which
never mind.
this is where I start begging. So um, I am going to be in Chicago. I have changed my dates of my trip to Chicago. I'm leaving for Chicago in 3 days. And I will now instead of coming back in early April, I'll be coming back April 13th because I really want to try to get to that show. But I'm starting a Dylan goes to the Windy City Riot Fund. If you would like to help me go to Windy City Riot, subscribe to my Substack. That is that is the Oh, I was supposed to that okay. That joke would have made a lot more sense if I had already talked about my Substack. Um, Beauty Pair. So I have an article coming out about the Beauty Pair. You read it already. That is coming
Mhm.
out. That already came out when you're listening to this. It comes out in an hour and a half as we record it. So that will have been out yesterday. Go check out my Substack at it's rightdylanwright.substack.com. So go check that out. And if you want to support the Dylan Goes to Windy City Riot Fund, subscribe to my Substack. It's like $5 a month. It's not it just I don't oh I'm not good. I don't like
Help
asking people for
help
money.
Dylan out. Help Dylan.
I
We
would
know
appreciate it.
there's got to be someone affluent out there. You guys spend hundreds of dollars on checkies. I know y'all got that cash money.
It's true.
Send it Dylan's way. Buy one less checky. Buy one less shirt. You'll be fine. Your idol
You will have
wrestler will not hate you.
you'll have my love
Dylan will
forever.
love you. Yeah. Or
Yes,
Dylan can like ask for a ticket. I don't know. People always sell tickets on the last days.
this is true. But the thing is that I leave the day after, so that's gonna be a stressful weekend already. I don't want to wait until the last minute.
That's fair. Maybe somebody will have it just like I don't know, post about wanting free tickets.
This is true. This is true. But yeah.
Yeah. You'd never survive the grind of OTT.
Oh
Let me
no.
tell you. That
No.
was a
To be
hot
fair,
ticket.
I yeah no it is. But the thing is that like arena shows are so different because that's the thing is that it's like for the cheapest seats they're only like $20 a piece. But arena shows kind of suck ass if you're in the cheapest seat possible.
Yeah.
That's why I want to get like the $30 tickets. That's a bit too rich for my blood. Um, but that's what I'm looking at. Is you know the cheap seats on some of these arenas are pretty bad. It's not as bad as a stadium. Cheap seats on stadium shows is God. I don't know why anybody would go to a stadium show uh, with the cheapest tickets possible. That just seems rough. Um,
Especially for wrestling.
Yeah, because it's just 2 ants at that point, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're going to, like, the Tokyo Dome, where it's like, "Oh, well, this is like a once," if you're, like, an American or a foreigner going to the Tokyo Dome for, like, Wrestle Kingdom, it's like, this is a once in a lifetime thing, like, I wanna be in the atmosphere. But like, I've talked to people who have gone and gotten really cheap like tickets. They're like, yeah, it's not a good viewing experience. Um, it's just kind of like the vibe of being there is the bigger thing if you're getting far out stadium tickets. But that's besides the point. I just talked a lot. But yeah, Azumi and Mina are on that show. Uh, Azumi's on all of these American shows. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if she was the one that they were going to put on AEW TV.
Um, yeah, Tony seems like she'd like her style.
Yeah.
Um, he seems like he would have seen some gifs and gone, hell yeah, this Azumi chick is cool. So maybe.
Plus, as I was talking with somebody, um, I think Tony is a baby and he's petty.
Yes.
So the second that Rossi's out of the picture, even though Rossi was not the issue and the issue was the schedule, he's definitely going to lobby very hard to get one of them on TV at least once so that he can be like, yeah, I'm the king of pro wrestling. Look at that. I make everything happen. It's like, yeah, the Stardom schedule was kind of what made that up. But, like, so I can imagine um, that being a thing is that he just wants to like look good
Yeah,
to the
maybe.
internet fan where it's like,
I,
yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
I
I
put
wouldn't
all this together.
underplay Mercedes Bunny though.
That
She's
too.
like she really
And
wants to wrestle
the two that
Japanese.
are staying longer are two people who have a relationship with Mercedes too.
Yeah, well, she just spent like all week hanging out with Mina, so
Yeah.
she really
She
likes
hung out with
Mina.
Mina and Momokogo, which is kind of
Yeah.
based. And Kyoko
Um.
Kimura, obviously.
So yeah, she's got to do a Hana show eventually, right? Like,
I'm
that
hoping.
feels like inevitable. But anyway,
She
we
did
have
say
to
she
get
was coming
onto the
back in the
world of
summer.
Stardom because Stardom is busy.
Yeah,
Um.
very.
So there is one show that was up from this past weekend. It only went up earlier, and I wasn't really gonna review it that much, but I guess we can look back at it a small bit because we both watched some of it.
I watched the top three
Um,
matches.
oh, I only watched the top two. But this was on March 2nd. It was Stardom in Kanazawa 2024 as Kanazawa Ryutsu Kaikan. They had a full house of 367 fans. In the opener, Saki Kashima beat Rani Yagami, fairly standard. In Miyu Yamasaki and Sayaka Matani beat Sayaka Kurara and Yuna Mizumori. Miyu got the win over Sayaka with a tensei in 10.5 minutes.
Mia's getting a
Um,
lot of shine, and she will get more shine in the Cinderella. Looking at the bracket, um, it's interesting.
for sure. I just saw it. At the start of the show, they announced that they would donate some of the money from this to the
Yes.
local area for
Yeah, for the or not hurricane, the earthquakes.
earthquake in 2020.
2020.
That's what
I
it
thought this
says
was
on
the
the
recent
website.
one.
2020 Noto Peninsula earthquake. Unless it's like it was set up in 2020 for one, and they're like doing more fundraising for
Oh,
the recent one.
wait. No, this is for
Anyway,
2020. This is for 2 months ago. Remember that huge earthquake quake on New Year's
yeah.
Day?
Well, maybe the website just has the wrong date.
Yeah.
Anyway,
In fact,
um,
I don't think the website even says that.
it
Like
says
the
2020 for
translation
TV.
does. The translation does, but the actual Japanese doesn't.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
very strange. Anyway, uh, where was I? I'm lost now.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, we had Oeda Tai, Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, Rocka, and Natsuko Tora beating Hazuki, Koguma, Hanan, and Saida. Momo got the win with the B driver over Hanan in 13.5 minutes. I was gonna say as well that the people announced for America, they're obviously not leaving.
Yeah.
um, in the original group anyway. So Momo being there was a surprise to me. I don't know about anybody else because I thought Momo was running out the door, but she apparently is staying.
You see, yeah. It's depressing. That's
Yeah.
more so. I wasn't
Well,
I
she's
wasn't
getting something
surprised.
of a push, so I don't know.
She's getting a push to lose the 17th red belt match she's had.
That's fine. That's
And then
cool.
she gets a red belt match every year and she loses them, and
Her
it's
and
usually not
Micah
even
are
that
a
good.
cool pairing to do. I like it.
I mean, yeah, it'll be a fun match for sure. I'm
Yeah.
excited for it, but it is one of those things where it's like Momo feels odd because I've been watching a lot of old wrestling. obviously, and I feel like I was right in that it feels like she's trying to do like an old school heel vibe, but it just doesn't connect with me at all. You guys don't like vibe with it as much as I want to. You know what I mean? Because like I could see where her influences are even. Um, and I've
Well, I
always
feel
said
like
that
that was
she
obvious when she rocked up in the Bull Nakano cosplay
exactly. That's
after
what I mean. Is
turning
that
heel.
it's like it feels like she wants to be Bull Nakano, but she doesn't have the
She is not allowed to stab people with scissors,
that
which
too.
Bull was allowed to do. So that
Yeah.
kind of
Uh,
creates a bit of a disruption there.
this is true. But it's I don't know. It just feels like there's like a I don't know something about Momo. It's a bit sad
Yeah.
for me. But yeah, Hanan losing here instead of Ida is interesting. Ida
Yeah,
or
her
Koguma for
draw
that matter.
as well. Her draw in the Cinderella is rough, and I'm like,
Yeah,
she went from a potential finalist to
she has to
that's a
get
second
very
round exit.
lucky to
Yeah,
be a yeah.
like, I'm very very intrigued by Hanan there. Um, the next match then was Azumi Urutami Hayashishita beating Mei Seira and Mai Sakurai. Azumi got the win for her team in just under 12 minutes with a diving foot stomp. So
Yeah,
that's
this
fun.
was this was solid, but my Sakurai was in the ring for quite a while.
Yeah,
Azumi and May had good exchanges though, so that made up for it in a little bit.
fair enough. We then had Suzuki, Giulia, Amisore, Mirai, and Suri defeat Xena, Hanako, Wakasuyama, Mina Shirakawa, and Maika. Suzu got the win for her team over Waka with a tequila shot in 18 minutes. Um, the real standout here was Xena and Mirai.
Mm.
Xena is even better than when she left, which is insane
Yes.
because she might have wrestled 3 matches tops between her tours. Because
Yeah,
she
but
was like
she's
disappeared.
working out with Daga, man.
That's
Like
true. That's true.
she's like and like me and Xavier started that as a joke. That's like Daga's our guy. We've been like watching some Daga matches. He's just good now. We were
I
like, oh shit,
I've
he's like
I've been
good, like
exposed to
very good.
Daga for a long time because they used to air the most random wrestling here. There was this
Mm.
channel that would have these like greatest wrestling matches. And it would just be this like
Daga was all
random,
over it.
yeah, this like random Daga cruiserweight AAA title match, and I was like, what the hell is happening? So yeah, I've seen Daga since like before I was even an internet fan. They would just air the most random
That's
shit
great.
here, and yeah, I saw a good bit of Daga. And he's cool. He trained Roxy as well, so I think he's just a good trainer.
Oh shit, yeah.
Um,
Well, but
so
yeah, like
I
Daga's
trust him.
like again, me and Xavier, we always like thought he was solid, but we watched his match against like Tadasuke. We were like, this guy's just like actually like really smart and really good. Like we've become very unironic fans of Daga, and I imagine if you're training with him every day, both whether it's in the gym or in the ring, uh, I imagine that did help a little bit in her time away. Um, because she did train with him in Mexico for a few months.
Yeah, I mean, if you can produce Roxanne Perez, I think you're a good trainer. Like
Yes.
she's great. Um, there were two lengthy backstage promos after this, and they don't have it in the report on the website. So I'm gonna have to scroll
Well,
the
also
Japanese Twitter.
I want to echo your sentiment real quick. Mirai did great in this match. She was like a constant, pretty much. Um, like she was the one that was in the ring probably for the most amount of time out of anyone, and she really got the best out of everybody that she went up against. Her and Hanako was fun. Her and Xena was great, and her and Waka was pretty fun as well. Her
Oh
and
my
Micah didn't interact, but it was all very good. And yeah, Xena's great.
Yeah, I was surprised that like Giulia was less the main story here, even though this was her like
They ran
last
it like an
time
old
teaming with
school
Suri.
They ran it like an old style Stardom, not old style, as in like 2021 style, where like the main draw is just not going to be in the match until the last until like the penultimate minutes of it, where they just wrestle the other top star for a couple minutes and they tag out. Uh, Maya used to do that a lot, and I would always get so upset because I was like, "You're the best wrestler in the world. Please wrestle. Why aren't you
Yeah,
wrestling?" And they did that with Micah and Julia here, which was a bit disappointing because I would have liked to see Julia and Shuri do some more stuff. And I also would have liked her and Micah to just be more involved in this match, but is what it is. Did you find the
Ja- um,
thing?
I am kind of there. So Momo Watanabe said she wants the red belt in her post-match.
Who would
It
have thought?
reset to the top of the page. Oh my god.
It's tough.
Dude, I swear to God. And the Japanese account posts so much. It
It
retweets
does.
everything. And it posts like 6 stories a day about random merch that I'm never gonna buy. And I'm just like, go away. Um, Let me just pad for time. Did you know they redid a lot of the cards for Card Party? They like
Mm,
made new
I saw
designs and
one of
released
them.
them.
Uh,
They also you also
I
seem to
think I
be
saw Microsoft.
guaranteed a Valentine's 3-star card now every time you do a 10 pull. So I just have like 3 random Valentine's cards on the
Who,
game.
whose Valentine's cards do you got?
I can't remember the first two, but I got to do Tommy's today. I was like, that
That's
beast.
that's lovely.
Yeah. Um. There. This is so painful. Okay, that's Rana.
You are struggling. I know that Julia was kind of like, yeah,
No, because
I'm
no,
leaving.
Saki. We're talking about Saki now.
Oh,
So Saki was like, that didn't hurt at all. Rana, you're not very good. All the while, she's like crouched over, holding her back, limping
yeah.
through the backstage promo. I was like, that's a queen, Saki, right there. Um, so yeah, Giulia talked for a long time and was kind of
Hmm.
making mention to the fact that she's going to be leaving. She has a strong defense, which obviously was announced not long after. There was a preliminary battle, and then Suzu cried whilst
Yeah.
being like, "It was fun to work with you, Julia." Um, and
Suzu
yeah,
also chopped her hair off.
did she?
Yeah.
Didn't
Actually,
realize.
I noticed that everybody in Julia's clan has cut their hair post Julia getting her hair cut.
Interesting. That's crazy.
Cause Suzu and my Sakurai both like cut their hair to like a bob, like very short.
Hmm.
Um, and I
Well,
found
Mom
that
or
interesting.
Maya always had hers short.
No, she had it a little bit. Well, yes, but
Kind
it's
of,
like
but it's generally
shorter
short.
now. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, I suppose. So Xena and Mariah continue to call each other out for a match that makes me think it's going to happen.
Well, I mean,
Suzu.
they have the artist match that they have to
Oh
do.
yeah, that's true. They
Um,
built up to that in the thing.
but they also have a Cinderella date if they get to the semifinals.
Yeah, which is why Hanan is fucked, sadly.
But also, we'll talk about this
Yeah, yeah.
in the preview.
Suzu slapped Micah's chest after the match, and they like went head to head. And Micah in her post-match promo said, "Let's put this belt on the line and fight again." But Momo, you're too late for your appeal. I don't know when we're gonna have the match, basically. And yeah, Hanako was like, "Ah, yes, I'm gonna win the New Blood tag belts." So 3-minute promos for both sides where they really said very little, but said enough, I guess, to be worth all of that scrolling.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, that was that. I think that was really all we need to say on the match. It was good.
probably.
Yeah. The
It
main
was a
event
solid
then.
match.
It was. The main event was Saori Ano and Tam Nakano beating the team of Yuzuki and Mayu Iwatani. Saori Ano won with the Tom's Tundra in just under 10 minutes on Yuzuki. This was great. This was like Stardom's house show main events are ridiculous. I went back and watched the Stars and Cosmic Angels one from last week, and it was
Mm.
nuts. Like Ida and Unimon were just they were Joe Kobashi and that shit. Like it was it was insane. They were just going at it. And here like the Cosmic Angels crew really worked over Yuzuki. And she was like trying her best to fight back, and then Mayu got in, and she was on her shit. She was taking no prisoners. At one point, Tam like hit her, and Mayu just sat up, made eye contact,
Oh man,
stood,
like
and
you
knocked her out.
undersold that too because Tam hit a high kick and Mayu sold it like a boxer getting knocked out by fucking Mike Tyson. Like she just completely just like crumbled to the ground, like her
Mhm.
body just smacked the mat, and then like Tam's just standing over her body for a couple seconds. Then Mayu sits up and just looks at her and just kind of smiles and then gets up and just oh man. This is the one like Tamlor pairing that still works for me. Like like 100%. This is the one Tam match that I was like, if you give Tam and Mayu like a singles match and like you give them, 20 minutes specifically, like 15, 20 minutes, it will be one of my favorite matches of the year. It'll be my favorite Tam match of the year, almost definitely. Because I mean, look at the 5 star last year. They had one of my favorite matches of that tournament.
Yeah, a
Um,
big Mayu Tam match is still like maybe potentially the best match Stardom has in its pocket.
yeah,
Um,
especially with Giulia leaving.
yes, so I would agree there. They do naturally work together, and
Because
as we
and it
saw
feels
here, there's a lot to work off.
yeah, and it feels sometimes that like I know people, I argue. But I feel like sometimes Tam's stuff comes off as a bit inorganic, and maybe it's because I've been watching since they first united. Basically, they first became partners, and I've seen everything since then. I think Tam and Mayu is the one place where Tam really excels because it feels so natural. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, there should be air here because there is a lot to this. This isn't someone that you got dinner with one time 5 years ago. Like this is someone who has been a constant, and I think that really helps Tam more than her being like, oh well, yeah, me and Anna wrestled 3 times in Actress Girls, so now this is the biggest match of my entire life, and I am going to die for this. It's like you don't have to do that.
Yeah,
Like you don't have to.
it's a lot of show don't tell with
Yeah,
Tam. It's like just put it
and
on
I think
screen.
I think her and Mayu is like the perfect. Still Lori, still has a lot of backstory, still has a lot of that story that like the Tamness of it all, but it works, and I
Mhm.
love Tam and Maya together.
I also liked Mayu and Ano in their brief stuff, but Ano
Mm,
worked really well with Yuzuki. Ano
yeah,
fits that kind of like bullying rookies style really well.
she is an
Um,
ice ribboner,
that's true. Well, not no, she's not.
kinda. She was briefly. She was
kind
champion.
kind of. Yeah, she was. Um, yeah, that was a great main event.
Also tags with Mayu Yukihi.
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah, and Ozaki.
Mm,
Um, After that, then we got some really interesting stuff. Ano is like fully committed to Cosmic Angels now. Like Tam was like telling her to say stuff, and she was going with it. She even did
yeah,
the delicious thing. So that's kind of an interesting shift in Ano's character. She's now blue. Her hair is blue. Her gear is
mhm.
blue. Tam is purple. So I'm gonna assume Natsupoi is gonna come back color coded. Maybe it's like silver. I feel like
Silver or
silver would fit.
yellow,
Yeah, silver or yellow, definitely. They seem to be
if you just
going
look at the
and
Shoe
like
Pro.
color coding themselves
Yeah.
for some reason. But yeah, Ano like
Sakura getting
really
pink is
fit.
sick. Good for her.
Yes, yeah, she's good. Yeah, Ano fitting into the group. This was the first time in a while where I've like been like, oh, this is like fun. Not that the Cosmic Angels haven't been great in the ring, but their post match stuff was like, oh, these are like really interesting characters together. Because even
They
like
also
the
have the
intros Ano was doing were neat.
They also have the new Booker and President in their pocket because Unimon during their match, that tag match, Unimon and Sakura, Unimon made Sakura dance by herself,
Hmm.
and she was like standing there next to Taro Okada, being like, "See, she's getting there." Like, like she's talking with, and like people outside of like Saki, people just don't do that. Where they're like talking to the fucking president. They didn't even do that much with Rossi back in the day, and I found that very funny that she's like, yeah, I think she could really make a good Cosmic Angel. He's like, and I just found that very funny that everybody kind of assumes that it's like, oh well, the Bushiroad direction is the Cosmic Angels direction more than anything because they make the most money. Um, and I found it funny that she was just kind of like was like talking to him, so it's like, and she's like, how you feel about Sayaka Kara? I think she's doing good. I think she's
Yeah,
doing good.
so we can do this idol shit. Don't you worry. We got these
Yeah,
idol.
she's like, we
Uh,
fucking got this.
I liked Tam's promo as well. She was like, "Oh,
Mm.
me and Mayu were teaming together with a special tag. It's gonna create a real a chemical reaction." She was saying. So please come out to the Yokohama Budokan. And she like made to give Mayu the microphone and took it away. And then later she was like, "Mayu, do you want to talk?" And Mayu fucked off and was like, "I tried to take it and you didn't want it, so bye." I was like, "Oh my god." She was having none of it. So, they're gonna be an odd couple pairing at Yokohama Budokan because they, like, they really don't like each other at the moment.
Who would have thought
So
that the Kandori and Jackie Sato that the Kandori would be Mayu? Who would
I
have
know,
thought?
right? That's crazy. Like she's gonna beat this girl eventually. Um, so yeah, that's fun. We're having fun. I'm into Tam right now. I never thought I would say that
That's
again,
wild.
but I like Tam. I like what Ano brings to the group at the moment now that she's like invested in the group. Yeah, I think Uniman being an actual thing and not just a pin eater is pretty nice. So
Yes, I agree.
I like Cosmic Angels. I like the direction they're going in with the Cosmic Angels. Even though it's like a very obvious like these are all staying, so we're fully getting behind them kind of thing. But it's I don't mind it. Um, so that was that show. They didn't say anything after the show. Just kind of Tam being like, "Hey, you got the monster and Sareee coming for you. You're gonna be all right." Um, and that was mainly it. She did give some backstory and when the last time she teamed with Mayu was. So that's
Like
something
they
if
did
you
a
wanna
special tag in like
get into.
2022 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what she said 2 years ago for Mayu's
Yeah.
award ceremony. We teamed up, but before that, it was like 4 years ago or something. Um, so
Since they've been like aligned, it's been almost 4 years now.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was that. If you're into the Tam lore, that was another little drop for her to add in. That
Or
like, hey, on the 9th, it's
yeah.
her first time teaming with Mayu in for many years. We had the show on the 3rd in Jotsu. They had 345 fans in the Kenshin Kobudokan. Um, this isn't up, so we didn't see this. But in the
Mm.
opener, Azumi and Saya Kamatani beat Hanako and Waka. Momo, what's up? Are you okay?
No, I just realized that we talked about me bringing up a very specific thing uh before the show, and completely forgot about it when we were
I
talking about
thought
the
you had
news.
kind of like alluded to it, but like never didn't go full
Yeah,
in. But
I
sure,
just
go
saw
ahead.
Zumi. I was like, oh shit. Yeah. So I'm thinking, and this also kind of like plays into the Cinderella, considering I think that she is a favorite of the bunch. Um, Azumi's someone who it's been speculated that she was wanting to go but couldn't because she extended her contract before she knew about the Rossi stuff. Um, so think it's very possible that they like give her a lot so that she stays. Because I think that's the move right now, right? Because
Hmm.
like there's been a lot of rumors that like a lot of contracts have been pushed, so like it's not like everybody has a decision at the end of this month. It's like
Yeah,
a
Fumi
lot more people
Fumi
have a
is the
decision
main
like
one.
a year from now, you
Because
know?
this is all from Fumi's interview. He
Yeah,
was
for
like,
for the most part,
"Here's
yeah.
what's happening. Here's a group of people who wanted to leave but couldn't because of legal action, and here's some other stuff." And Azumi was like very clearly one of the legal action group. He kind of was like, "Oh yeah, the high speed one and the high speed one under a mask," and I was like, there's only two people that could be."
Yeah, well, he
So
said that,
yeah.
and then he was like, to break it down even further, it's like, yeah, they've been in the company since they were literally like 10 years old. It's like, huh? There's two of them. But yeah, so I think that it's very possible that uh Bushiroad their plan might be because we were talking about this. That's like I wonder why they would even keep people if they want to leave. Like I feel like that's just like delaying the inevitable. Like it's just not.
Hmm.
Wouldn't be very great for your company. You should just cut the people who don't want to be there and rebuild from there, so that you can rebuild from there. And I think that the big thing is I think they are trying to leverage themselves for some of these wrestlers. And I think for
Hmm.
an Azumi, you know, she's always talked about wanting to wrestle in America. So they gave
Yeah.
her like 7 dates in America. They're like, you could stay for an extra week, 2 weeks. Like you could wrestle in America, and you'll wrestle in America as much as you want in the next, during that period. It's possible she gets a Cinderella. She's a finalist or a semifinalist at least. That's in fact, I think it's unless she loses like round one, it's kind of hard for her to not be a semifinalist in the Cinderella.
Hmm.
Um, and there are things like that, right? Where it's like it's very possible that someone like Azumi was like, oh, I want to leave, I want to go to Rossi Promotions, and then they're like, okay, but what about you give us a year? Like you're all right, we're not gonna let you leave. Uh, Give us a year to prove to you that you're better off here than you are there. I could definitely see that might be the case for an Azumi. Uh,
Hmm.
and I mean, even if you want to look at it, like even further, they're also kind of putting over her tag team partner who she's very close friends with. Like that's like I know that Miyu's probably in their plans as well, but that's like an interesting thing to think about too. Is that it's like uh, they could look at Azumi as like a very important piece of this thing, and
Well,
they might want to please her uh, before she has a decision, presumably next year.
mm, well, I can see especially with Azumi because at this stage, I am convinced one of Utami or Saya is going to be in
Mm,
the original crew, and you're going to need a number two for Queen's Quest at that stage, which is where Azumi can come in. Um, so yeah, I could see them being like, "Hey, look, there's a spot opening up at the top of Queen's Quest just for you." So yeah, there's definitely ways where people will inevitably decide what's best for them and go, yeah, screw it, I'm staying or I'm leaving just because the other guy is going to push me more. And for somebody like Azumi, if an Utami or Saya does leave, that's a spot for her up the card. So yeah,
yeah,
I can see why
and then
she
for
would go for that.
someone like, and I don't think even Fumi said anything. I don't know anything, but for someone like Suzu, just judging by the past few months, it feels like they do not care about Suzu. So if she was planning on staying, it's very possible that they just don't like give her a reason to. And whenever
Hmm.
her contract's up, which again I assume is next year since she came in late last year, so she wouldn't have had a 9 month contract. So I imagine that it might have rolled over or something like that. Again, depending on when she is a free agent, she has a renewal, uh, a chance to renew or deny. I imagine Suzu's someone who, if they don't, you know, focus her a bit more, she's someone who could definitely be like, "Oh, well, I was thinking about staying, but I don't want to anymore." Again, I have no idea about Suzu's, status, but if she was planning on staying, I could definitely see her being like, "Nah, these motherfuckers don't want me."
Yeah, no, that's Suzu is definitely an easier choice than I think most of them.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, we'll talk about Suzu a bit more later, I think.
yeah.
But the next match was Mon Watanabe, Starlight Kid, Rocca, and Natsuko Tora beating Shiori Ano, Sayaka Kurara, Yuna Mizumori, and Tam Nakano. And Natsuko got the win for her team over Kurara with a frog splash, which is unusual.
Oh,
I
Natsuko
don't
with the
think,
frog
yeah,
splash.
I don't think Tora has won that many matches lately, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and also she
Tam has been
hasn't
whispering
used it
stuff
in a
into
minute.
Kid's ear, and
Yeah,
I'm very intrigued by where that goes, given Tora's whole "Oh hey, I have
I'm
something
thinking
that I
about stuff.
I might want to say." Yeah, so
I hope she
intriguing.
doesn't disband Oedo Tai because then Ruaka is retiring.
That's crazy. That was so out of the blue. Somebody was like, "What would you do if they disbanded?" She's like, "I don't know, retire. I'm done." Like that's crazy.
Which I mean, Oedo Tai has since she joined Oedo Tai, she's seemed the most Oedo Tai of basically anybody. Uh,
Yeah.
and that kind of like Nina actually brought it up that Ruaka like before she debuted, she was like, all I want is to be like X Asakawa and be an Oedo Tai.
Oh, that's cool.
So like for 10 years now, she's been like, my dream is to be an Oedo Tai. So she's here. Uh, I hope that Natsuko does not disband Oedo Tai.
I don't think she'd disband it. She might like split it or something, but I don't think they would ever disband away the tie at this stage. So
It
I
feels
think we're
too
safe.
legacy. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, But the next match was Siri and Rana Yagami beating Mai Sakurai and Giulia. Siri won with the ground type Suzaku on Mai. Rana had a red belly after this. I was so it was so strange because I just saw like a picture as I was scrolling by. She was like pointing at her belly button. It was
Yeah.
all red, and I was like, "How does that happen?" But I mean, God knows what they were doing in the ring to cause that. Um, we then had Saki
Another
Kashima.
loss for my Sakurai against a rookie, by the way.
Yeah, my Sakurai is the most obvious leaving with Giulia
Yeah.
ever. Like this is a 1-2 combo here. Like you're like Julia is dragging her like as part of the suitcase, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, because yeah, my is definitely if my does stay, I would be hugely shocked. That's all I can say.
I would be
Um,
sad for her. I'd be
yeah,
like, damn,
honestly,
these motherfuckers burying you for nothing.
yeah, honestly, that would be pretty weird. But she doesn't get like promo time to do her character or anything anymore, so I do feel like
Yeah.
they are over her. But yeah, she's probably leaving. Um, we then have Saki Kashima, Amisore, Mirai, beating Koguma, Saida, and Mayu Iwatani. Let's see what they say. Mirai and Sore body press Kashima on top of Ida. Very, very
Yeah,
descriptive.
so the Kyokos beat the fuck out of Ida, and then they like laid Saki over her, which is a
That's great.
preview for the Cinderella because it's Saki versus Ida. Um,
Ah, okay.
but yeah,
Did they just
so
give
Saki
away the
Kashima got to
finish?
fall. Wait, what'd you say?
Did they just give away the finish?
No, but this like what they did was so Saki Kashima has a fall over Ida. Either Ida redeems that, or Saki Kashima has it over Ida by winning again in the Cindy.
Fair. All right. We then had Suzuki and Mei Seira beat Miyu Amasaki and Utami Hayashishita. Suzu pinned Miyu with the tequila shot, and afterwards,
Tequila.
Crazy Star said, "Hey, we won our tag battle, our goddess challenge that we never got. So they are going back to Crazy Star versus Aphrodite."
Hmm. Yeah,
We then
thank God.
had,
I'm excited for that match. I wanted that match to happen,
oh yeah,
and
that's
then it did.
fun. Like that's just fun. Um, In the main event, then Xena, Mina Shirakawa, and Maika beat Yuzuki, Hazuki, and Hanan. Xena pinned Yuzuki with Thunderstruck in 15 minutes, and that's another win for Xena, who has been presented really strong since coming back.
Yeah. Um.
All right.
Yeah, good for her. I think. Yeah, we'll see. We're getting into this
Yeah.
indie now. Yeah.
So yeah, there are two shows this weekend. Both are going to air live on pay-per-view. It seems the Corkins are going to be pay-per-views from now on. They're a little bit cheaper. They put some matches on them.
One of them's
But
gonna
the
air while I'm on the train.
That's crazy.
The
Um,
Corkin. Yeah.
but the big one is obviously the Cinderella opening day at the Yokohama Budokan. Um, I'm gonna. Oh, they do have a tournament bracket, but it is not in
Yes.
English.
Oh,
So,
it's on the Twitter. You want me to send it to you?
no, I'll just open the Twitter.
Okay. It's all sideways, which I hate. I'm just gonna open it on my phone. I have it right side up, so I can look at it without getting a headache.
All right, there we go. So, should we go non-tournament and then tournament, or
It's up
yeah,
to
we'll
you,
do
my
it that
friend.
way. All right, so we have a game zero pre-show match. It is an eight-way battle. Oh, it's just an eight, a fatal eight-way, huh?
Yeah, so
Um,
it's everybody with a buy.
I see. Interesting. Okay, so this is Mirai, Mai Sakurai, Amisore, Wakasukiyama, Suzuki, Meisera, Hazuki, and Azumi. So there'll probably be a few
Um,
tag team spots in there, and yeah, I don't know.
I
Suzu's been
think
on a run. Give Suzu the win.
whoever's like losing first round, like if Mirai's getting upset by Hanan, which is a big if, I think Mirai wins here.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I have momentum, and then you lose, right? But not like in my Sakurai, obviously, because my Sakurai is obviously going to lose when she first enters the tournament. But
Hmm.
you know, if one of these people are going to get upset, yeah, I see it either being Mirai or Suzu, who I imagine they won't make it out of pools, basically.
Okay, fair enough. We then have a special three-way tag match. Maika and Mina Shirakawa take on Utami Hayashishita and Saya Kamatani, and the odd couple team of Mayu Iwatani and Tam Nakano.
See, when this
Um,
was first announced, this felt like, oh, this is how they get a title challenger for Aphrodite. Title challengers are already decided, so
mhm.
now it's like, oh, this is just a match.
I
Cool.
briefly was like, "Oh, they're doing a Mayu Tam tag run. That's crazy," but I guess not. They don't like each other, so they probably lose. They probably like cost each other the match.
Um,
Maybe
yeah.
like
Does Mayu
maybe
have a
Mina.
have a IWGP challenger?
Well, technically, Yuzuki said she would challenge if she
Okay,
wins
well,
Cinderella, but otherwise, no.
um, I could see one of Aphrodite. Well, actually, I think Tam's probably challenging Mayu.
Yeah. Well, is it like Mayu messes up Tam and Mina pins her or something? Because Mina and Tam have been like
It would be
attached.
really cool if, because that doesn't really happen in Stardom, where like the odd couple tag team just actually beats the fuck out of each other, and one of
Mm.
them like deserts them. It would be actually kind of cool if they stepped on each other's toes so much that Mayu just fucking kicked her in the head and walked away.
Yeah,
And I think it would
I'm
kind of
into it.
fit Mayu's character of just like, I don't really care. that
Mhm.
much. Like I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? I think that could be kind of cool.
All right. Yeah, I'm on board. So
I don't know
my
who wins
Mina
though.
wins. Mina wins. Just
I
humor
mean,
me
it could
here.
be Aphrodite because they're tag champions. I don't know if you know that, but also I don't know.
I don't know. Would you have one of them pin Tam?
Psych Pentam.
Maybe Saya. Yeah, maybe Saya pins Tam. Yeah. All right. Um, we then have a Future of Stardom Championship match. Rina does not defend against Hina. She actually cut a promo recently and said, "Hey, I want to defend this against somebody outside of Stardom.
She
I
cut
want to
that
get
promo like
these."
2 months ago. Uh,
Well, I
so
don't.
I think this is a matter of like this match was planned like for a to be decided, and then Rossi
Mm,
dipped, and now they're like, well, I guess we'll make it on that because I don't know. I don't foresee Diana and Bushiroad Stardom having the strongest relationship personally,
mm,
in comparison to Rossi
well,
Promotions.
I could see it. I could see them keeping it. Just depends on where Kyoko kind of wants to go.
Yeah,
But either way, it is
I don't know.
Rina
Kyoko
versus.
sympathizes with Exoduses. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. So this is Rina versus Miran. Um, Obviously, people know we've raved about Miran before. I think she's insane.
This
I've been
was
jokingly
Moran's
calling
debut
her.
match
Was it?
in Stardom. In
Oh
Stardom,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I forgot that. She like outshined Rina in that one, so
yeah.
this is going to be interesting. I have joked that Moran is like a Manami Toyota regen because she's just kind of crazy. Not Manami Toyota crazy, but definitely like a little bit.
Which, if you know ball, Manami Toyota regens are quite often better than Manami Toyota. So we'll
Right?
see. 10 years from now, we'll
Do you
see.
see Manami Toyota's relative is
Yeah,
booked for Seedling
that
there?
was. Oh, she's booked for Seedling. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
I
As
I
soon as
figured as
Hoda picked
much.
her up, Taya was on the phone.
Yeah, I think people were kind of like, oh, T hearts, that's kind of lame. But I think people forget that Hoda's uses T hearts as like, oh, whichever one is like my star pupil will get every indie date possible
Hmm.
because everybody loves Yumika Hoda except for Rossi Ogawa. So like her being
I'm
in
gonna
T hearts
need
is great for her.
Stardom to bring in Hoda for
Oh
for
yeah, I'm
Ano.
already booking Aja, Hoda. I'm booking everybody in this fucking company.
Oh, Aja. Oh my God, she's yeah, dude, Aja. Would she work TJPW and Stardom at the same time?
I wouldn't be
She didn't.
surprised.
Hmm, maybe. Let's get Aja in. That's yeah. Do another Legends night. Get in Aja and all the people who hate Rossi. That'd be cool.
Oh,
Toyota
that'd be
coming out
so
of
cool.
retirement,
All
like
the
one
all
night
the people
only.
who love Rossi were on last year's show, and all the people who hate Rossi's on this year's show would be fucking insane.
Yeah, dude, get Manama Toyota out of retirement. Get Aja. You know, I think it'd be
Oh
fun.
man.
But we have a strong women's championship preview tag. There's Suri, Konami, and Giulia, which is an interesting pairing against Stephanie Vaquer, Momo Watanabe, and Fukigen Death. So
Yeah.
I would imagine Fukigen eats the loss here, especially since Vaquer is like 99% beating Giulia, so she's probably
Remember when
losing the
Konami
preview.
was the one who enslaved the clown?
Yeah, I do.
It's wild that we're still here with Yoniyama.
Not for long, brother.
Yeah, that's true.
um,
Um, yeah, obviously the God's Eye X Julia team uh, are winning here,
yeah, definitely.
especially because
Um,
Stephanie's winning the next day, so you could
yes,
pretty easily do that.
and also Konami is like protected to a degree because
Somewhat, unless it's like
they
building
like
to
have her
something.
challenge every now and again. Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, then we get on to the big match. Natsupoi's return special tag. It is Natsupoi and Saori Ano taking on the team of Chihiro Hashimoto of Sendai Girls and the debuting Sareee. Uh, what the fuck? That's like, what?
They don't have the
Um,
time limit on this, which I don't like. They don't have the time limit on anything nowadays,
no,
actually.
no, I don't think they ever did for pay-per-views. They're never really interested.
Uh,
Yeah, this
I
is
mean,
this is pretty insane.
all the first round matches are 10 minutes. They do note that.
Oh yeah, well that's a
Par
tournament
for the
rule.
course. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, this match is pretty insane though. I mean,
Yes.
like, look at the names involved. That is absurd. I did see people kind of fantasy booking Sari long runs and Stardom, and as
Mm.
cool as that would be, I would very much pump the brakes because this feels like her and Hash being brought in because of their connections to Natsupoi.
Yeah.
Because
I wouldn't be
obviously
surprised if this was pro
Natsupoi and
request.
yeah, like Sari and Natsupoi go back a
Super
long way.
close.
They're very good friends. They've wrestled in TJPW. That was when a lot of people would have first picked up on Natsumi Maki was that Sari match in TJPW.
Mm.
Um, obviously they're still friends to this day. So of course, if your friend is coming back after 5 months out with a bad injury, if she goes, "Hey, do you want a payday?" You're gonna say, "Yeah, of course."
Now
And
putting
Hashimoto,
Hashimoto next to her is a choice.
that is a way to re-injure her. She's like, "Ease
Yeah.
me back in, guys," and they said, "Hashimoto, you got it."
And like so Natsupoi's kind of be in position as like Stardom's next like
Mhm.
ace basically. um just by like the way that media is treating her and like it's
It
just
feels very similar to when Chihiro first took control and they made
yeah.
Tam front and center on everything.
Yes.
It
And
is
for
that kind of vibe.
comparison, Tam was like a a very popular upper mid carder, maybe like mid carder, upper mid carder, who out of nowhere became, a Cinderella final or not finalist, a white belt contender, a strong white belt contender, and faction leader. All of that within like 12 months. Not even because there was like COVID time, there was breaks and shit. So like within like 8 months of actual action, Tam went from like a mid carder that a lot of people liked to the leader of a faction, one of the top stars in the company, all because Bushiroad was like, "You're next," right?
Mhm.
I definitely think that's what's happening with. I almost called her Natsumi Maki. It's been a while since I called her that. Um, that's probably what's happening with Natsupoi. I mean, she got a shoe pro cover, which is a very political thing. If you get a solo shoe pro cover that isn't even like of you like winning a belt, it's just of her existing. Like it's a photo shoot of her was on the cover of Shoe Pro. Like that doesn't happen all that
Admittedly,
much.
it was a quiet week. I feel like nobody has
Yes.
run a big show, like, at all, even in puro spheres. Like, it
Uh,
just everybody's quiet.
could put Jake Lee and Fujita.
Maybe, maybe,
No, but you're
but
right. You're right. It has been quite a week. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. It just feels like I mean they released a video that's like
yeah.
hyping her return. Like they
Yes,
didn't
like,
do that for
she didn't get
Tam.
the standard return, it was a video of, like, an NBA highlight reel kind of
Yeah,
video. Um, so, yeah, she has got the full treatment and getting, two of the biggest stars outside of Stardom for a comeback match is a big, "Hey,
which
she's a big deal."
which does make this match difficult because ain't none of these motherfuckers losing.
Well, I think she would definitely happily eat a pin to Sareee, and there's no problem with
Yes.
that. Um, and the same with Hashimoto. I mean, anyone can lose to Hashimoto, and they're fine. Especially if this is your comeback match. I feel like generally you can lose your comeback match because it's like, oh, they have to like ease back in and they're
Mm.
they're rusty or whatever, and she can use that then to win her next big match or something. So I think you could easily have her lose to Sari here. Sari isn't like afraid of losing,
No.
but I don't think she might put Poi over because they're friends, but there would
Poi
have to
does
be
have a
something in it for
roll up.
her.
Yeah,
She
that's the
does,
issue.
but there has to be something in it for Sari if she's gonna lose. Like there has to be a you are wrestling on Sariism.
Sareeism
Yeah,
forward. I can see that.
yeah, I guess. So there's a world where Natsupoi wins because her friend is like, "Hey, that's chill." But also it's quite likely that Natsupoi just loses and turns it into something, maybe a storyline. I don't really know.
Yeah, the
Um,
other issue is that this is a 15 match card, so it's not like
yes,
you could really have it
you
go.
cannot do a 30-minute draw.
Well,
Like
no, it
not
wouldn't
at
go
all.
30. It might go 15. If there's a fit, that's why I wish there was a time limit on this, on the match shit. You know what I mean on the schedule. Um, because if
I think
it's
if
a
you ask
15-minute
Sari to go
time limit,
15, she'd tell you no. She prefers her longer matches.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. This really could go either way. Anyway, Natsupoi coming back and being like this huge deal makes me think that she might not lose. But at the same time, I think even looking back at the Tam, upgrade in 2020, Tam was still a loser. It's just that she became a more important loser. You know what I mean? Uh, in that, like, she was still the underdog at that point. So I could see them booking this and having Poi lose and really look like the underdog coming out.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I think you could do that pretty easily.
Yep.
Let's see, where were we?
All right, so the
But
gym
anyway,
marathon.
I like how none of us were like, "Oh, Sierra might lose," like not a
Well,
chance.
because then you have to do a wipeout match, and I don't think Ano's getting a fallback on either of these two.
Yeah, probably. That makes sense.
Because I don't
Um,
see Sareee challenging for the wipeout, and I don't see Ano pinning Hashimoto ever.
no, that's fair. And it's just easier to pin Natsupoi. Let's be fair, she is the high
Yeah,
speed fairy. It kind of
exactly.
works.
That's always
Um,
easier to have a decision with. Either way,
yes,
pretty much.
yeah, for sure. We then go into Cinderella action. We have an interesting first round match. We have Miyu Masaki versus Rana Yagami. Um, I feel like if you were ever gonna get somebody to like beat Miyu and like upset the senior of the class, you have a very easy route to do it here by
I
Rana
I don't think you do
tossing her
though,
over the top.
because
We could
then
do
next up is
elimination.
Sakurai,
Yeah.
and I don't think Sakurai's making it out of that first round. But Sakurai's probably not losing to Rana.
Hmm. Who's on the other side? Natsuko, Azumi. Would you do Azumi versus Miyu?
Azumi Miyu is the quarterfinal in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I was looking at it in isolation, but yeah, with the bracket in full, it's a bit more. So you can kind of see it a bit more. So yeah, Miyu Amasaki gets the win.
Yep.
We have Sayaka Kurara versus Natsuko Tora. Yeah, you guys know who's winning.
I mean, if
Um,
Natsuko's retiring, then I could see Karara throwing her over the top, but I doubt it.
yeah, I have my doubts. We then have Yuna Mori versus Lady C. So the winner of this faces Amisore.
Mm.
Um, I feel like Yuna is the obvious choice, but then they have done a lot of promo stuff with Lady C recently when she's lost about how she's like gonna improve and get better. So if there's ever a time to give her a win, it's probably this.
She
Um,
should choke slam her out of the ring.
yeah, they are kind of getting behind Yuna, but there's ways to do it where you can like go easy. And then Amisori has an easy win over Lady C in the next round as well. So
I could see Yuna making it to the quarters past Lady C and Ami. Uh, but
hmm.
if
I'm
if
just
if
wondering where your
Ami,
first round upset comes, because there has to
but
be.
Lady C over Yuna isn't an upset.
I think it is in the current landscape. Lady C loses a lot. Unimon is finally getting some upward trajectory.
See, I'm worried about a first round upset a little bit later on.
All right.
But yeah, I don't think either of these are an upset. I think it's pretty even. Maybe it's like probably maybe like 55-45 Yuna in terms of like how their dynamic works. Um, so it would be kind of an upset, but
Mm,
uh, I'd be cool with Lady C winning though. I would like that.
yeah, I'd be
But
into
I
it.
could also see Unimon like making a run and getting stopped by May Sarah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, would you do something like Ida versus Unimon in the
If
quarters?
Ida's making it to the semifinals, then absolutely.
I
That's the match I
imagine
would run.
May and Suzu are eliminated because you probably do
The
that
tag title.
Aphrodite tag
Shit,
on
you're
the
right.
final. So I would maybe you do Ida versus Unimon because that's something that they've kind of teased in the preview tags.
Hey, I'd love
Um,
that.
so yeah, maybe Unimon does win here and then beat Samisore. So
See, that's where this is interesting. Is there's so many title matches to do, and we don't know how many title holders are leaving.
yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
so it's like if any of Mirai, Ami, and Shuri are leaving, which I don't know, but I have a sneaking suspicion Mirai might. Like that's my
You're
like
not the only person who's mentioned Mirai,
it,
and
it
I'm not
feels
sure
like
I
she might.
see it, but at the same time. she is supposedly one of Rossi's favorite wrestlers. So
Yeah.
if he was ever going to say heads up, I am leaving to anybody, it would be one of his favorite wrestlers. Um,
And with that
so
being said, that means you need 6 people free for the title match,
yeah,
for the
I
artist
think
title
though with
match.
the artist belts you can do it on a house show because they have
This is
started
true.
doing that.
This is true.
Whereas the tag belts, you probably, especially with Utami and Saya, you probably want to help sell your Cinderella final.
Mm,
So
that's true.
I don't know, but I would suspect May and Suzu go out quick. Um, but
Um,
I don't know.
Speaking of which, we will be moving on to those matches. Well, to the
Yes.
next match, I guess.
So you have Saya Ida versus Saki Kashima, and yeah, I suspect Ida gets her win back over
I hope.
Saki.
I hope she does. The
Um,
issue is that Kashima and May is like a thing, so I could see them running that back, but also I
yeah.
don't really want them to. I would rather Ida make a little
You
bit of
know,
a run.
Ida is another one that they have to free up for the New Blood match that they've been talking about for forever.
Yeah, but I don't think any of them are leaving early.
Yeah, but you still have to do it soon. They've been talking
Yes.
about it for a month, 2 months maybe.
Well, and that's where my fear comes in later on,
Ah, okay. Yeah.
but we'll see.
Well, I'm starting to think Hanan does not make it past the Corkin anyway, but you know.
We'll see. We'll
Um
see.
so yeah, either Ida, well if they're doing Ida Uniman, then yeah, Ida's winning. And if not, then Saki wins and they do May Saki.
They could. I mean, looking at this like little quadrant here. I'm sorry. I know that this is an audio podcast, so nobody's like looking at the bracket like we are right now. Looking at this little quadrant, which is Mei Sarah, Sakashima, Ida, Lady Siami Sore, and Unimon. That's like an interesting quadrant because there's a lot of possible matchups. Because I totally forgot about Mei Sarah uh, being the tag title challenger, right?
Hmm.
Um, and if we're correct at one of Aphrodite might be dipping. They need to get that match done now, pretty much.
Yeah.
Uh, which, and to be fair, even Taro Okada said there are championship holders in this company that are leaving.
Yeah, he
So,
did say that, yeah.
and nobody's lost a title since then. And I don't think he's talking about just Giulia.
Well, we also know it's not Mayu. Can't be Mayu.
Yes.
We
Um,
have no indication of the trios belts, so we can't really make a judgment there.
I think it would be either the trios belts or the tag belts. One of those needs to
Yeah,
change hands by
yeah.
the end of the month. Uh, So, like, you're looking at this little quadrant, it is interesting because with May Sarah probably having to go out early so that she could challenge for the tag belts, I could see Kashima beating Ida, beating May, and then them running Kashima versus Sore, since they're teammates.
Ah, yeah,
Um,
maybe.
I would prefer Ida versus Unimon in that quarter, so that's probably where I'm going, just prediction wise. But I could see some things coming out of this. Uh, Which is probably the weakest, quadrant of the tournament just in terms of, like,
Um,
value.
the Waka one is kind of iffy as
I mean,
well.
but Waka has Suzuki, Koguma, and Xena.
Oh, that's Hazuki there. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. I'm on your side there.
So it's this
Um,
one is an interesting one because it's like, who are they gonna elevate right now? So I could see it
yeah.
being Ida and Unimon in the quarters.
Yes, definitely.
That's where I'm at.
I think they go with Unimon definitely because they seem to be into her and her group, so you
Yeah,
can kind of get her behind her. We then have Koguma versus Rocka, and I feel like this is a Koguma win, so they can do Koguma and Hazuki.
FWC. Yeah.
Yeah, that just
I would
seems
say
very
this has upset potential, but I don't think it does just because the FWC match is something that they'll probably wanna run. Just,
yeah,
they like to do stuff like that.
that's true. We have Momokogo versus Xena. Um, this is Momokogo's first match back in about like 9 months or so.
It's been a while,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and Xena's built a match with Mirai so much that I can't see them not doing it.
But that might just
But
be the artist match.
but she's kind of set it up to be a singles, so I'm not
See, that's
sure.
the issue. There's like 4 matches that have been set up, and realistically only one of them can happen if one of them happens, then that means the other matches can't happen. You know what I mean? Um, which I find very funny.
Although you would be
I
doing Xena, would you do Xena versus Waka as well? That's like two faction
that
versus
that's the
faction
thing is that
matches.
I think Momo Kogo has upset potential here.
Hmm, I guess so.
Of
If she
anyone,
has
I
like a
think
new
Momoko has
move,
upset
maybe.
potential. Plus, I mean, she's always had this kind of feud with the not American, she's not American, the
But Xena has been
non-Japanese.
talking shit. Xena has been
Yeah,
talking
that's what I
some
mean.
shit.
And I mean,
So,
Club Venus has been talking shit for fucking a year and a half to Momokogo. Like
mm,
that's been like she uh got hurt after like in the midst of her feud with Mariah May, right?
oh yeah,
So it's like, I think that this is a match that has a bit more potential to be something.
yeah,
Um, but I do think that Xena probably ends up going pretty far in this tournament, especially if Mirai does, which we'll see.
yes, definitely. We then have Yuzuki versus Starlight Kid. I have Starlight Kid as a favorite to win, so I have her going on.
Yeah, Kid definitely wins this.
Yeah. Now Yuzuki does have a roll up, but I have really taken the foot
Stopped.
off the gas with Yuzuki.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, is she also gonna leave? Because she's like, well, she like joined wrestling to be with Mayu, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, listen, I am dipping. I don't care. I'm gonna follow Mayu.
Yeah,
Um,
but I feel like she would just wait for Mayu then.
well, she probably will, but if they know she's gonna do that, why would you give her
But Mayu's
anything?
like a year out. Like that like my I don't know this, but like my feeling on it is that most of, if not all of Stars leaves with Mayu.
Mm. You are
Um
also not the only one who said that to me. This is really
Yeah.
funny.
Uh, well, just because it's like I think Stars is like very clearly the most tight knit group
Yeah. No,
in the
that's true.
company, and
But
it's
you
like,
see, I
and
still
Mayu
just
is
wouldn't
kind of
give
like a cult
Yuzuki
leader
anything,
almost.
because
What'd you
if
say?
you have I still just wouldn't give Yuzuki anything if I was in their position. It's like, why
Yeah, there's
would
no
you?
point in building this wrestler up if she doesn't want to be. Yeah,
Yeah. Like,
because
I
it's not
would
like she has a backing to her. You know,
no, not
um,
yet.
with an Azumi who could potentially leave, it's like, well, she has 10 years of experience. She's very popular. She has a lot of these credentials that could help us as a company. Yuzuki doesn't really have that yet. She's just a really
Mhm.
good young wrestler. So I could see that. I could see them taking the foot off the gas for Yuzuki because they assume she's going to leave with
Yeah.
Mayu.
So that's why I would have Kid just as an easy winner here.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
we then have Hanan versus Hanako in our last match of the show. It's a first round match. It's a preview of the New Blood tag match. Um, I mean, Hanan seemed like a very obvious winner because I really did see her going far. Her and Mirai kind of have a thing, don't they? So you can like
Yes,
do Mirai and Hanan. Hanan has also made no qualms about wanting the white belt.
yes.
So she's kind of been like somebody that they positioned to go far. Um, but yeah, if they're doing Mirai Xena, then she's gonna lose in the second round. But if not, then
If they're
she's
doing
got a
Mirai
really
Xena,
good
a
path.
lot of a lot of potential winners are out, and it's pretty much just Azumi.
Oh
Like
yeah, because it was
if they
well,
run Mirai Xena,
Kid is
then
still
Azumi
there.
is winning. No, because Mirai Xena would be a semifinal.
Oh shit, yeah, okay. Wow.
So if they commit to running Mirai versus Xena, then Azumi is winning the tournament,
Hmm.
unless they give it
Yeah,
to
we're in
Xena.
an interesting spot. I would give it to Xena. She's great, honestly.
I mean,
But
I'm
what
not
belt would she
opposed,
challenge
but it
for?
wouldn't.
That's that's kind of an
That's a
interesting
good
question,
question.
though. What would she challenge?
The
That's
New
that's
Japan
why like
Strong Belt, baby.
Mercedes Moné versus Xena.
You think
Sure.
Mercedes Moné is getting that shit?
Yeah. Oh, like that makes the most sense in the world to me. She's not winning the AEW World Title. Like, it just wouldn't make sense.
What?
She wants to wrestle like Japanese wrestlers and Mexican wrestlers. Like she wants to do her own shit. Whereas they want the world title to be in like stories all the time. So I don't I feel like Mercedes is obviously gonna win the strong belt.
I mean, hey, I'm down with another Mercedes versus Vaquer. Especially,
Yeah,
actually, you're probably right because Tony Khan specifically said that he wants Stephanie Vaquer to
yeah.
wrestle
Dude, like
in America.
Monet is like, I want to wrestle Miyu Yamashita. Do you think he's gonna let that happen for the AW World Women's World Title when he has
Good point.
Timeless Tony
Good
there
point.
to do stories with? Come on.
No, you're right.
So Yeah,
It's funny, and I know I don't want to get make this into an AEW podcast, but I was actually thinking very similarly. I was like, so they're clearly running with something in this women's division in AEW. I don't know how Mercedes fits into that because
she
like what
should
they're
get
running
her
with,
own show.
I'm not crazy about, like
Make
personally.
do what they did with Punk and make Collision her show, and just let her have fun.
I agree.
Let her
No,
let
I
her
agree.
hoop. Let her
I agree.
cook.
Shit, you're
Yeah.
right. But
Um.
yeah, it is an interesting thing with the strong belt, but I don't think Xena would challenge for that. Maybe she challenges for the IWGP. Um,
Yeah.
I
Well,
just don't think she was winning the Cinderella,
probably
quite
not.
frankly. But
Honestly, the
yeah, if
more I look at it, the more I'm like, yeah, Xena and Mariah isn't happening because they're just gonna
no,
do it for the artist belts. Whereas they have other matches to do in the Cinderella. Because Hanan winning probably sets up for Hanan versus Kid, and that's a pretty
no,
big.
we'll talk about that in the next show. I
Okay.
think I think Hanan getting out of the Hanako Mirai gauntlet means that she's probably a finalist.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
I
there's
mean,
a
she'll have
potential finalist
Hazuki.
anyway.
She'll have Hazuki in semis,
Mm,
realistically, which would be a hard match for her to win. But I think if she beats Hanako and she beats Mirai, she's probably a finalist.
definitely. Well, so
But
we have her
that's the
over
thing.
Hanako.
But that's also the other thing is that's like she could lose to Hanako. Like that's been something they've been building to is Hanako finally getting a win
Um,
over Hanan, even if it is like a cheeky win, you
would
know.
that not be for the tag belts then? Because Hanan would presumably be a bit above them if she's like a Cinderella finalist.
Yes, well, that's what I mean is that's like
So she
what's
beats Hanako.
possible is because that's the thing is that it's like Hanako and Waka want the new blood tag belts, but they can't win matches. So this would be like Hanako's like proof in the pudding is that it's like I can win a match. Give me the fucking belt now. You know what I mean? Like give me the title match.
Well,
So I
I don't
could
know.
see
I
them
think
running that,
they already have the title match. I feel like they're gonna do it
but
anyway.
they've been teasing the title match isn't like a thing that's happening. Like it's a thing that it's like Momo versus Micah, where that's not a thing that is happening. It's just a thing that like it's going to happen. Everybody just presumes it's going to happen, but it's like not like they've said anything about it. It's just, oh, these are the only challengers for the new blood belts right now.
I guess I don't know though. I'm
I
very
don't think Hanako
iffy
beats her,
on it.
but I think there's a bigger chance of her beating her than people might think, personally.
I'm just not sure you have a good path for Hanako like you do for Hanan.
You have a good what?
Unless they do a good path. Now,
Oh yeah.
unless they're intent on doing Mirai Suzu in the quarters and then like Mirai Hazuki or Suzu Hazuki. But I don't know about a Mirai
Uh,
run, especially when you have to do the artist match somewhere. Um,
yeah, and I think well, I could see a Mirai run to the semis,
maybe.
but
I
I
feel
don't
like
see
back
it.
to back winner going out early is a fun thing for the Cinderella.
I
So
agree. I would run Hanan over. Well, we'll get to that match in a
yeah,
moment, but I would run Hanan beating Hanako here. It's just a
okay.
thing where it's like I could see them doing a misdirect. Uh, it's always possible.
Yeah, that would be if Komomo doesn't win, then that's your upset. I think that's
Yeah,
it, maybe. Um, so
unless they just don't run upsets in this tournament. Maybe they just don't give a fuck.
I think they'll do upsets. Card
It's
then
a
for
new
the next
Booker. Boom boom.
day. The card for the next day is kind of all over the shop because they can't announce everything until
Uh,
after the 9th.
hold
So
on. I think there was a. Here it is. Okay.
I think
Um.
there's a vague outline of the card, but then they can't do undercard matches because they don't know who's going to be in the tournament.
Okay. Here I have the card. Scott posted it. Um. So well, most of the card because yeah, they haven't announced all the
Yeah,
card.
like I have some of it as well on the website. I'm just
Um.
saying it's kind of all over the
Oh, we
shop.
didn't even note this. Aya Sakura is coming back
Oh
this
yeah, I
weekend.
was gonna get into that. Don't you worry. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, we're finished preview of the Yokohama Budokan show. We are now on to the Cork and Hall show on the 10th. Um, we have it says so that all the other match cards will be announced after the results of the Yokohama Budokan tournament. So that's your undercard tags and stuff like that. Um, and that's obvious because people in the tournament matches here depend on who wins on night one.
Yeah.
So the first Cinderella tournament match is Ami Sourei versus the winner of Yuna Mizumori and Lady C. I think you would talk me into Unimon, so
Yeah,
it
I
would
think
be Ami
Unimon's
versus
going
Yuna.
further.
And I think we would have Yuna going over.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other match would be May Sarah versus the winner of Ida and Kashima. And we're very split on that.
Yeah, I'm
We
looking at this
kind
right
of,
now. I don't even know if I agree with myself from 10 minutes ago. I'm gonna be
yeah.
real.
I think May versus Saki is an easy rematch, but they seem to like Ida, so maybe Ida
That's the
goes
issue.
far.
That's the issue is that Sakakashima could upset Mesera. Um, and that's easy. So you get Mesera not busy moving forward. She has the high speed belt and she
Hmm.
has a tag title challenge. Don't really need her to be taking up all this time on these Cinderella shows. So I could see them wanting to get rid of Mesera early, and that would be easier if you're running with Sakakashima.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna eat ahead, so I want Ida to win.
That's fair enough.
Also, give me Ida versus Mesera for the high speed belt. Saya can run fast. You seen
Maybe
her?
possibly.
She's a fucking bullet.
I just think you do Ida versus Unimon because it makes Unimon look good in her win, because Yuna's going to win that match, and
Probably,
it
yeah.
would make her look good. Um, so I would do it. I would do it there.
Like
Um,
I said before, coming out of this bracket, it's either going to be Saya Ida versus Unimon or Amisori versus Sakashima.
yeah,
Uh, Purely because at first I thought Mesera was making a run. I thought she was going to be a finalist, well, a quarterfinalist, or she's going to be a semifinalist. Originally, was what I
right.
was thinking. But
Okay.
you bringing up the fact that they are running that tag title match, and it's very possible they need to run it before the end of the month. It makes me think that she
Yes,
probably isn't getting to the final day.
I would agree there. We then have Suzuki versus Yuzuki or Starlight Kid. I think Kid versus Suzu is something they've done a few times.
I think it
So
goes
that's
to a
an
draw.
easy. I feel like Kid is winning the tournament, so Kid over Suzu.
Nah, I think that's going to a draw. I mean, if it is Kid over Suzu, then Homegirl needs to get the fuck out. I know she might be winning the tag belts, but Homegirl, we we need to have a discussion. um, no, I'm kidding. It's a Cinderella. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
But
it's fine.
I think I think this they draw out. 'Cause I don't think Kid's winning
Well,
the
I don't
Cinderella.
know, because if it's Kid, I mean, would you not do Kid versus Hanan? Well, okay, I think it depends on who wins from the Mirai side, because they would do Mirai Suzu in a heartbeat. Um, but they would also do
Rai
Hanan
Suzu would
versus
be
Kid.
interesting. Rai Suzu would be interesting because they could also draw out.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
like
then
you
there's
can.
oh, but if they draw out in the quarters, that's hard because then there's just a semifinalist waiting for the other side.
Yeah, you can do that if you want. They've done that
You know what?
before.
Actually, yeah, because that Cinderella final might be loaded. They might add a bunch
Yes,
of title matches
they're
to that.
like
So
they're definitely gonna push
I could
around.
see them completely canceling out that quadrant with the Mirai Suzu draw on the 17th and then
Hmm.
so that all those people are free, right?
And that knocks out both of our winners, though. Or well, yeah, two possible winners.
Two
So
of
I
like
don't know.
the four winners, possible
Yeah, like
winners, yeah.
either they're doing Mirai Suzu or they're doing Kid Hanan. Um, and so yeah, I don't know anymore. So it's Yuzuki or Kid versus Suzu. I have Kid versus Suzu, and then,
I think it's gonna be a draw still, Kid versus Suzu.
okay, and then we have Mirai versus Hanan or Hanako, and that could go any one of three ways. Like all three are very viable.
Yeah.
But I would
Um
have Hanan,
I would too, ideally.
especially
Um
if Suzu Kid draw. There's no point in putting Mirai through.
True.
So
Because then Mariah would go to the semis, and she would probably have either Hazuki or Xena. And I mean, you could do that, but
mm,
you know,
yeah.
I would like it.
Um,
I would prefer if Hanan made it to the final day.
yes, that I would too. I think they're getting behind her. We then have Aya Sakura's return match. As we say, this is her first match in definitely like 10 months. She's been
Oh
out
yeah,
since
I mean
about June or July.
she's still unaffiliated.
Yeah, she doesn't have a faction yet, so like, she's very new. It's good to see her back though. I
Yeah.
mean, she was starting to get pretty solid when she got hurt. Like I remember we were like, "Oh, dude, this is Aya's best performance," and then she got hurt two
Mhm.
matches later or something. So there might be a setback, or she might have had more time to hone her skills while she was out injured. I don't think so because the injury did seem very bad. so she probably hasn't progressed
I think she
much.
got into the dojo like maybe like a month ago.
Yeah, so I would be very cautious about this, but it is nice to see her back.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
agree.
main thing, and it's good to add another rookie to the bunch because there's an interesting crop at the moment.
Her
Um,
if she does like catch on quickly, her versus Rana could be a really fun uh
oh, definitely, yeah.
feud at the bottom.
Um, we then have a New Japan Strong Women's Championship match. Giulia takes on Stephanie Vaquer of CMLL. And yes, I mean Stephanie, you're not. I highly doubt they're flying Stephanie out to Japan to miss an all women's show in Arena Mexico. To
To
lose.
miss some I actually just watched the CML. You'll be happy. Uh, her and La Catalina fucking cook. They're great
Yeah,
together.
they're
Uh,
awesome.
she should defend the belt against her, in my opinion. Um,
She can defend her own belt. This would be Vaquer's
this
third
is true.
title. She would have three belts at once.
Oh yeah, Stephanie
Um,
Vaquer also made a run in our champions of the world
good.
bracket
She's a badass.
because she's
Um,
just great.
yeah,
Like she's held the belt for like 100 days and she's defended it more than like 90% of the belts in CMLL, and I think that's so real.
yeah, which is maybe twice. um,
No,
but
she's
yeah,
defended it 4 or 5 times.
oh,
That's why
really?
it's like holy fuck,
Hmm.
yeah. Because like
I think she's on the
Mystico's
Tuesday
held the
shows.
Mystico's held his belt for like 2010 days. He's defended the belt like 12 times. And she's at 100
Nice.
days and she's like almost halfway there.
Um, but yeah, this feels like a
Steph's
Vaquer
winning.
win.
Yeah.
I know Julia like set up a match with Mercedes and they were talking shit, but
And
again, I
Mercedes
don't.
retweeted Scott. Yeah, it was the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't see again. I don't see you flying Vaquer out to lose, especially when she's on the New Japan show and Julia isn't.
Mhm.
Um, and if you really want to do Julia Monet, there are many places to do it. Julia is a free agent; she can show up wherever she wants to do AEW if she desperately wants a match with Mercedes, she's free to do so. Um, it will not
Now,
be for this
if
belt.
Mercedes politics hard enough, uh, that can go on like Ring of Honor or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe. Um, do you think Julia officially announces her departure after this? Because she's said she's going, but hasn't like announced it to the crowd yet. You know,
I
like
could see it.
I is the Tokyo Sports thing considered enough? Because she hasn't got on the mic and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm leaving." Um, so
Yeah, and that's
I'm
like a big
very
thing. Micah pretended to care about that
yeah.
for a
Micah was
minute.
like, "This should come from Julia's words alone," and I was like, "Julia has not said anything, so I don't know, man."
She was like,
Sh-
"I'll beat up your entire staff." Also, we're like best friends. I don't know if anybody knows that.
Micah is so funny. I love Micah.
Yeah.
Um,
So that is a big thing is Julia like announcing that she's
mhm.
leaving. Um, I imagine she's the only one who will announce that, like on a
Yeah, the
show or
rest will
something
probably come via
or in a
Tokyo
press
Sports or
conference.
something.
The rest will probably come via a tweet of like effective immediately contract has expired type of thing.
Mm, I don't know. I don't know if they'll give it that much attention. They might
Yeah,
just like take them off the roster page.
do you
Remember what
think
they
it's
did
gonna
with
be an Unagi
Kyona and
instead of a
Natsu?
jungle?
Yeah, well,
No, because Jungle was announced. It was tweeted that
was
Jungle
it?
effective immediately is
Oh,
gone from the
I
company.
thought they were just gone from the website and everybody noticed.
Natsu and Unagi were the ones that were
Mm,
silently told to fuck off. Jungle
right.
was very loudly told to fuck off. Um,
Yeah. I think they could do the latter. I think they won't want to give it any oxygen, so they'll just be like, okay, they could just take them off the website.
that would be wild. Like especially because there is still a champion at least that is leaving for like a top star to be like
This is
just
very unprecedented,
nothing.
though. I mean,
True.
like, I don't know if anything like this has happened in the digital age. You obviously couldn't do this when AJW had its exodus. They had to announce it to the world weeks before running the Budokan or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Budokan.
Um,
The Budokan
so
was the end of the 97 Budokan was the end of AJW as we know it. Like that's like what it's known as.
yeah, because it was like weeks before when it was like, oh yeah, by the way,
Yeah.
everybody's leaving on this show, even our
Including our
triple
world
champion,
champion. Yeah.
yeah, who had three belts at the same time. Um,
Insane.
but yeah, anyway,
Not only
I
is it insane that they
suggest
put so many belts on Kyoko and Noe, but also that they did it when she was leaving.
I know. I
Like both
mean,
of those things are choices.
well, she was popular. They had run
Yeah,
everybody else into the ground by that point, I guess.
no, you're right.
But yeah, that's that show. Parking should
I
be
will say
fun.
one other thing that's kind of funny is everybody's like crediting things like changes in Stardom to Rossi being gone. And like one of the only very notable changes is having Stephanie Vaquer on a Stardom show. That's Rossi's that changed because of Rossi. Because Steph and Rossi had heat
Hmm.
from her first tour with Stardom. So I find that very funny that like everybody's like, "Oh, they're running America because Rossi isn't here." It's like that's not what that's not how that happened. But this one specifically was like, "Oh yeah, Stephanie's here because Rossi's no longer here." So she's like, "Yeah, I'll come."
Yeah, I mean that, and they also need to get the belt on her. So that's
Yes, but I'm just saying that there was like everybody's been blaming everything on Rossi being no longer here, and I find it funny that like nobody's really peeping that it's like this is the one where it's like yeah, that's why
yeah.
in part at least.
I mean, I feel like there's been slight changes, but nothing huge. On the whole, I mean, I definitely think house shows have been made a bit more important, but only the big ones, so you can like switch off and switch back
And
on.
even then, they were more
Um,
important in the last couple months of Rossi being around. I think it's just because of the schedule difference.
yeah. They're also more lenient with who takes pins. I feel like
Yes, that's
people
a
are
big
taking
one.
pins now that didn't take pins. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's slight changes, but yeah, people like Vacker being on the show is definitely like a big like Rossi is gone kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't, we'll have to wait and see. Um, but that's that weekend. Looks really fun. Both shows will be available to watch on demand, which is pretty cool, and that seems to be the future for both companies now. I think Sony has said Rossi's thing would be more available. I think that's pushing Stardom to make their stuff more available because
Yeah,
wrestling is a petty, petty business. And if you can get a leg up on the competitor, you're gonna get the leg up.
which
So
I think also probably plays into maybe not them booking Sareee, but them saying yes to booking Sareee. Is I foresee Rossi probably wants to run Giulia Sareee.
mhm.
I imagine that's where that match happens. Um, is with Rossi. So them being like, "Ah, we booked her first, haha," like that's also something that I was like, that's probably a
But that
like,
happens. That happens.
yeah.
In Ireland, this even happened in Ireland, right? We had a new
Oh, this happens in
promotion.
Chicago.
Yeah, like we had a new promotion open called Courage Wrestling. It was backed by some like rich guy, and he got Pac for his first European date after leaving WWE. And the
Mhm.
very next day, OTT was like, "Oh yeah, we have Pac as well." Like that was
Yeah,
like, 'cause that's how petty this business is. And Courage was nowhere close to OTT, right? Like Courage was
man,
never gonna beat OTT, but they
Warrior
still said, "Fuck you, we're booking him as well."
Warrior and AAW like had beef over booking the Rascals. Like,
Like
over
that's
in
yeah,
in
like
that
that's
same sense
insane.
where it's like, "No, we booked them first. Why would you book them the day later?" It's like because 'cause they're in town. It's like, "But no, this is you're still," and it's like a whole thing, and it's like, it's the fucking Rascals. Like, they're cool. Like, I love Dez, who's not on the Indies anymore. I hope he gets better. But, like, that's not wor like, we do not need to be beefing over this.
No.
Sorry, I get.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. But yeah, that we are in a very petty business.
Very.
Or we're not in the business, but we follow a very petty business as fans.
100%.
But yeah, that's that fun weekend for Stardom. Hope we all have fun. We'll be back next week to talk about all of this stuff. Dylan will be in Chicago in Chi Town.
Yes.
Do they call it Chi Town, or is that am I like
Chi-town.
Chi Town? Okay, that's yeah, that's fair. He will be in the lovely place of Chicago. We will be here to discuss more Cinderella Tournament action because
Yes.
it actually ends in like 2 Wednesdays from now. So
Yeah, so next
uh,
week we'll have the one house show in between. Um Oh, wait. Oh,
there's
shit,
two.
we're
It's
gonna
like
have to
split.
preview no, we're gonna have to preview the Cinderella final next week.
Yeah. Um, we'll
Because
try.
oh, fuck, yeah. Or we'll have to run that Monday. right after the 17th.
Um, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we'll be back next week anyway to discuss the Cinderella goings on and Sareee and Natsupoi and all the good stuff. And we will look ahead to the rest of the Cinderella tournament because that's really all that's happening until around the Philadelphia show, which is when things are going to get crazy because that's April and that's
Mm.
presumably when contracts are up. So we're going to have a fun time.
Maybe they put some title matches in the Kyoto show.
Possibly. Yeah.
I could see that. KBS Hall.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean let's go, y'all. Let's see what happens. Like I
woo.
said, check out my Substack at rightdon'tright.substack.com. Uh, the article goes live in 5 minutes from now, so that's fun.
All right. Well, it is time to close the show.
Yes,
If
it
you want to
is.
stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Yo.